A couple months ago, Luke and his life group had the experience of going through Alpha together with their group, and they really had an incredible encounter with God where they saw God working in their life group. Luke, why don't you tell us a little bit about how that came about and what happened?
So in the spring of this past year, my life group and I, there was only 4 of us in our group at the time, we decided to do something a little bit different. We wanted to try and do a little bit of an outreach, especially with COVID. We wanted to get more people involved with the church. So we all decided to try and invite as many people as we could and run this Alpha program. Starting out, we had no idea what to expect. We were prepared that it would just be the 4 of us sitting around watching the Alpha videos again, but we were fortunate enough that each of us at least had one person who we'd asked to come out after a lot of no's. So we had about 8 to 10 people in that first call. Some of the people had no church experience, some of them grew up in the church and kind of had faded away in the last couple of years. So we had a pretty diverse background full of people.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, these were guys that you had invited that were part of your My 4, guys that you had been interceding for, praying for, guys that you had been investing in, and guys that you just took the opportunity to invite to something like an Alpha program that does an amazing job of explaining the gospel for you, if that's correct.
Yeah, for sure. These are guys, some of these guys are ones that had been a part of our My 4 and that we've been praying for, but then others had kind of just come out of the woodwork from other places. So some of the ones where I had asked one of my friends, they weren't able to come, but then they passed it along to one of their other friends. So it was interesting to kind of reach out to people that we weren't even necessarily super close with, but they were still able to come, and we certainly got close with them over the weeks.
Awesome. So during your experience with Alpha and My 4 and all those things, what was the experience like while you were in the group? What were the discussions like? What were some of the outcomes that you saw?
So it was really cool to see, because as I said, there were some people who had never heard, didn't even know the full details of Christmas. So they had no background in the church at all, had never picked up a Bible. So just hearing the questions they had to ask, really, I know certainly challenged me, and I think challenged all of us in the life group to kind of look back. A lot of us who grew up in the church kind of take a lot of things for granted. So I found that listening to the questions that these people had made me rethink and kind of question why I believed what I believed, and certainly strengthened my faith by going through those questions.
I think it's really amazing to see how God is working in our lives as we're investing and inviting people who are part of our My 4. And I think it's really cool that your life group was able to be obedient to that call.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's helped all 4 of us become more disciplined with our devotions, seeing as we're challenging others to start reading the Bible more and praying more, it's on us now. We need to make sure we're doing a good job of that too. So I know for myself and other members of our life group, we've grown in our faith by being more in the Word, praying more both with the group and individually.
So how do you see this going forward? What are some of the things that you're excited about with your life group in the future?
So as for next steps, I think we want to continue to keep that relationship with the guys who we brought in. I know that often we can go through these Alpha programs, everyone gets really excited about it, but then once the program ends, everyone kind of loses that fire. So the first thing was we want to stay connected with the guys who we did invite and want to make sure that they're still included. One of the guys actually recently accepted Christ after going through the Alpha program, which was super cool to see and was an answer to all of our prayers. So Staying connected with those guys, and the next step would be to bring even more people into the circle. So we've each talked to some more friends who, now that they've heard that kind of non-traditional churchgoers have gotten something out of the Alpha program, they're now interested in coming on board. So we'll probably, as for what's next, we'll see if we want to run Alpha again or another type of program, but I think the main thing is we just want to stay invested in these guys' lives and continue to grow both as individuals and as a team now.
Well, thank you, Luke, for sharing that amazing experience about how God was working at work in your life group, and not just in the lives of the new people, but also in your life as well. And that's what can be true for you today. If you get interceding and invested and involved with your My 4, God will be at work not just in their lives but in your life as well. So please do make sure that you have your My 4 ready. If you aren't in a life group, please email info@springvale.org, and please do consider getting involved.